Okay, what does that mean?
Which is another way of saying identity.
Not known to himself, you mean?
Mm-hmm. And Paul Bishop had quite a bit of information on that, and we were trying to run all the details down on that, and then that's when the lawsuit on the book hit, and so I had to abandon one project and begin working a little bit heavier on this other, because it is critical that I'm able to preserve the Johnny Gosch Foundation and the book and the rights to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that became a more pressing issue.
Yeah.
And in fact, I am waiting to hear from Paul Bishop on a few other things, too.
Mm-hmm.
I've sent him another email, and we usually arrange with our schedules and everything then to talk by phone at a certain time or day. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, I don't think he will call in. I don't think he will. But
if Jeff Gannon is not Johnny, I wouldn't see what the harm would be in doing a DNA and didn't just clear it up for, everybody that wondered.
Well, yeah, and again, going back to the original...
Wouldn't be any big deal.
Yeah, going back to the original, statement of conditions that he offered you about the privacy and all of that, mm-hmm. You're a very reasonable person.
I had no problem with any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what was reported to me by the KWWL reporter that did the interview.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's just, as you said, and we've said so many times on interviews on your show, there is so much to this case. It is of huge proportions.
Yeah.
And it trails off into different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one friend that she does real well in following everything.
Right.
And I had breakfast with her yesterday, and we were sitting there having coffee, and she says, if I hadn't been with you all these years and been right there as these things happened, she said it would be very startling and it would be hard to absorb it all.
Well, yeah, and of course, it's an incredible story, and I mean, it does seem to be just as active today as it was back then in the 80s.
She said to me too. She says, "I'm so glad you put it all in a book."
Yeah.
And at the time the book came out, I think she bought 6 or 7 of them and gave one to every one of her niece and nephews,
mm-hmm.
as because they were all young people growing
mm-hmm.
up.
Yeah. Let's do this, Noreen. Let's go ahead and wrap up. I don't think he's going to call.
Okay.
But let's wrap up here. What's the next step with this pending litigation from?
Well,
Valinsky?
I'm waiting for a call from Phil. He said he'd call. He was out, and he said he'd call me back either Tuesday or Wednesday,
mm-hmm.
and then try to see what we can do next. Because he agrees too that there's no way that I can allow them to take that, or even think that they can take the inventory in exchange for dropping these ridiculous claims.
Sure.
And this man, whoever is putting him up to this, that I don't know. But it just seems very peculiar that all of a sudden they slapped this big lawsuit and all this stuff. And he wanted a retrial and all this big stuff, And then there was press coverage at the time that I was served with the papers, of course.
Yeah.
And then they call my attorney and say, well, we'll take the inventory instead. It was just so abrupt that it does cause everybody to question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll keep you posted as to what happens, but as of this very minute, I'm not sure which way it's going to go.
Yeah. What's the next step with this thing? I mean, you've already done depositions. What happens next?
Well, the next would be to have a court date scheduled, which we had, but they only gave us 4 days to prepare.
Yeah.
My attorney said that's not enough time, so they asked for an extension.
I see.
And I don't know when that will take place.
Yeah.
It might be 2 or 3 months before you get on the docket again. I don't know.
Right.
And then they may make another different offer before then, too, because I don't think they really want to go to court.
Mm-hmm. So
I think what the long-range goal was to seize control of my book.
Okay. Noreen, it appears that Jeff did call in. Let's go to line 2.
Okay, good.
Let's see if it's him. Good afternoon. Is this Jeff Gannon?
This is Jeff Gannon.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for calling in. I've got Noreen on the line with us. What would you like to say?
Well, I understand that that they're making statements that I have refused this DNA test, that is categorically untrue. I sit here and wait for someone to contact me to set up the test to bring resolution to this once and for all.
Okay. Noreen, you respond to that, please?
Well, that's terrific to hear. We will have to get in touch with you again.
Jeff, Noreen said that the television crew from Des Moines brought back from you, I guess, the list of conditions under which you would do this. Is that part of it true?
Well, one of the things that I requested that any information that came about as the result of this test would need to be strictly limited to determining, whether or not I was Noreen's son.
Okay.
Immediately be destroyed and not shared with anyone else. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's unrealistic.
I don't either.
No, I didn't have any problem with that either.
Okay, so...
But then I did hear that later, in another couple conversations, that Jeff had said that he didn't really intend to take a DNA test. He just told the reporters that. And so if that's accurate, then that's as good as a refusal.
But
only he can answer that question.
You're hearing it from me now, that I am willing to do this. I shouldn't have to do this because there is a mountain of evidence to disprove this. There are people that have known me my entire life that have been willing and able to step forward to refute this, but that doesn't seem to be good enough. You people have demanded a DNA test, and I have to say I am so tired of hearing my name mentioned in connection with this, with whatever this is, that I am willing to participate in this to put it to an end. And after that, I insist that my name not be mentioned in connection with this any longer.
I can assure you, Jeff, that if that's the truth, then that will put it to rest. I can, again, as I said, I've known Noreen for a couple of years. I know her character, and I know that she's not trying to grandstand. As a matter of fact, she has, tried to play it down. And if you're agreeing to do that, then fine, let's get on with it and let's put it to rest. Because I agree with you. I think that, and I think Noreen agrees with this as well. She does not want to go any farther than just wanting to know for sure whether it is or not, if it's true or not. And I think from the standpoint of what she's been through, I think you probably can understand that. I understand that you're aggravated. But
I am very sympathetic to, to whatever has happened to her, but none of it has anything to do with me.
Okay. Well,
and I will prove that unequivocally by taking this test.
Okay, Noreen?
And then that'll be the end of it.
Very good. Noreen?
That's wonderful.
Okay, I guess you guys know how to get a hold of one another and be able to get in touch.
I've received more than several emails from Mrs. Gosch in the last 2 months.
Okay, very good.
How to get a hold of me.
All right. Mm-hmm. Noreen, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, but thank you for calling in, Jeff. That was very kind of you.
Jeff, do you have anything you would like to say before we let you go?
As I have said in the past, I have great sympathy for Mrs. Gosch, and it's a tragedy what happened to her and to her son. I wish her peace and resolution and justice.
Very good. And Jeff, that's very good. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And again, I thank you for calling in. Okay?
My pleasure.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. All right, Noreen. So there we go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Before I let you go, let's take. I think we've got one more caller on here. Let's go to Dick in Denver. Good afternoon, Dick. You're on the air.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
First a comment and then a bulletin. I want to praise Mr. Tancredo for his statement, and he knows where that statement's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say another thing. He reminds me of Harry Truman. That guy doesn't put up with anything. He puts down his fist.
Yeah, well, he did that. It was over the weekend. He sure did that.
Yeah, and then the second thing. Here, I've got this caught a red flag. I come across this as April 22nd session update. Fran Coleman.
Yeah.
Okay, it talks all about the Tabor. We need Tabor, and our monies are being restricted. Okay, now what it says, I'll just read just a little bit here. Of course, funding for K-2 education continues to be challenging.
Right.
And the top priority for Colorado continue to provide basic education for all.
Yeah.
Now, the all is the key. Now, I read that, I went through it, and I went back to I knew I read again something about it before. July 6th issue of the Lavaz, it speaks of the Dream Act.
Mm-hmm.
And K2 is involved there, too. They're talking about K2.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, anybody think about this, could this K12, her agenda, we know she's a devious woman, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and there are many devious ones. Is this connected to this C&D Tabor issue?
I think it is.
Is it written down there where we can expose this?
Well, I don't know. That would take some digging. But you see, when you look at this thing, you can't help but realize that a lot of the denial of the HB 1271 bill that Schulteis introduced has to do with the idea that where are they going to get the money? The question is, where are they going to get the money? The next shoe that dropped, if you remember correctly, was Romanoff's workaround with Tabor. And, of course, Governor Owens kind of getting, close to that situation and going forward with it. So I think that they are related. I think we just need to dig and see what referenda C and D are going to be used for.
Yeah, because for all, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
They think we're stupid, but...
yeah, I hear you.
What they're doing, before I go,
yeah,
is they're supplying us with their shovel for the grave, basically.
Well, yeah, ultimately, I think, yeah, because they're not looking past this thing. They're not looking well enough into the future to understand that once they've done the bidding of their masters, and these are the globalists that are paying their way, once they've done the bidding of their masters, the poor are going to be more. We're going to all be in that boat.
Yes.
So yeah, they are in a lot of ways. Dick, I got to go.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, thank you very much. Bye-bye. All right, Noreen, we're going to take our break. I want to go ahead and let you go. I want to thank you for coming on the program, and of course, we will be in touch. And I would like to see this DNA thing move forward.
I will contact Jim Rothstein.
Very good.
Also about setting it up. He would know the procedure to do that.
You bet. And I want to thank Jeff. If you're still listening, Jeff, thanks for calling in. I mean, hey, if you can get this resolved, I think it would be the best thing that could happen. Noreen?
And then the next thing would be, after that, preserving the book rights.
That's right.
And then after that, maybe then a little relaxation for a couple of weeks.
There you go. I think we ought to go find out the guy who started that rumor about Jeff. If it turns out that he's not, we ought to go find the guy that started that, and we ought to do something, fun.